In Term 2, undergraduate business students from UNSW undertook a future of work problem for our industry partner, Forbes Shire Council. Given their prime location, reliable infrastructure, and a thriving community, how can we help Forbes Shire Council attract businesses to expand their footprint in this attractive community? Here's what our students have to say about what they learned.
But I think one of the skills that I really developed was putting myself in the perspective of the client and to try and think a bit more holistically. I think that generally speaking, and while details is very important to consider, coming from a very technical background where the scope of work that I've always worked on has been very limited, it's very easy to sort of ignore why is it that what you're doing is actually helping the overall mission of your department or of your business. And I think that I definitely felt at times with Parks, with Forbes. It was very easy to look at the resources we were given with Parks SAP, with the community programs, looking at what other people have done, and with incentive programs. It was very easy for you to then come up with sort of these finer details and come up with a solution that sort of is technically sound, but perhaps not something that could really be pulled off from the perspective of your client. And it may not necessarily align with what they ultimately want to achieve. And I think that was something that you did really well, which was to sometimes remind us, okay, with this information, how does it ultimately help tie back into the sort of desire of what your client wants, right? And I think that was something that I felt like I managed to really develop throughout that process. And it's now definitely helped me sort of think about the importance of seeing things from not just the technical side of things and the finer details of things, but ultimately always bringing it back to the client and their overall mission. And I think that if you are able to always tie back these finer details back to the client and then have that holistic perspective, I think that ultimately it will, make any student going into the workforce a very well-rounded individual. And so that has been now something, with these skills that I've developed, something that I want to take forward, and it has actually impacted sort of my interests in terms of what I want to do in the future.
I think for me, the biggest learning experience was figuring out how to work with a team in an online environment. Because this is I have never been as an online environment to cooperate with the teammates as before. So at the start of the course, and it was a pretty challenge for me because not everyone showed up. So sometimes I had to step up and get things moving, even though I'm not usually very outgoing. So it's really pushed me to communicate better and take more responsibility in our group.
The most important learning experience I had in COMM2244 was applying the design thinking framework to a real-world client project in a team setting. This allowed me to move beyond theory and develop practical problem-solving skills.
And here are the range of new skills that our students have developed in the course.
Definitely get better at teamwork and learn some practical problem-solving tools like the fishbone diagram and 5W1 Edge. Also, my presentation skills also improved, especially after getting back from the professor in week 9. I think it's very important to take that lesson because the professor will teach you how to improve your presentation skills and one by one. Yeah, and now I'm more confident speaking without just reading my notes and pay more attention to body language and structure.
Throughout the course, I strengthened my abilities in leadership, problem solving, team management, and stakeholder communication. The reflective activities at various stages supported my growth in critical thinking and self-awareness.
And here's how the course have affected our students' future career aspirations as a result.
I'm more interested in roles that involve real teamwork and business problem solving. I also feel more confident about stepping up and leading my team. This course has made me more realize that I really enjoy working with different people and facing new challenges. So I'm excited to build on the skills in my future career. So thanks for the opportunity to reflect on this.
These experiences have shaped my future aspirations, inspiring me to pursue roles that involve working closely with clients, leading teams, and creating innovative, impactful solutions, and to contribute as a thoughtful communicator, inclusive leader, and strategic problem solver.
I've always thought I was going to be a software developer, but now I am fortunately exploring opportunities elsewhere, perhaps with consulting that is able to then combine my technical expertise and allow me to then use these technical skills to then feed into this overall holistic mission for different clients. And so that is perhaps something where I may want to do that. And at this point, it's impacted me so much so that the money that is typically offered in software engineering may not be as much of a pulling factor for me anymore as if, compared to the experience that I could potentially get from working at such a job that can leverage both my technical skills, but force me to always think in the perspective of the client and see holistically how can we use these finer details to help achieve the desire of the client, and how can we help propose a solution that is incredibly feasible for them.
And here's what Amy Strudwick from Forbes Shire Council have to say about our experiences together.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy and I'm part of the business development team here at Forbes Shire Council. It was such a great experience being involved in the Future of Work project. The teamwork and the professionalism from the students stood out the most. They were great. Students challenged our thinking and also took feedback on board and adjusted their direction to deliver practical solutions for it. At the end of the term, the presentations were clear, persuasive, and they were backed by evidence, so it was so great to see. A big thank you to Jane, it was such a pleasure to work with you, and to all the students, wishing you all the very best for the future. Thank you, see you later.
A massive thanks to UNSW, the Career Accelerator team, Forbes Shire Council, and our students for their amazing effort the past term.